The views and opinions of the guest do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hello, folks, earthlings, creatures, roaches, rodents. This is Wednesday 13, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather. As always, I bring you guys awesome interviews, and today it's an honor and a privilege to have Mr. Wednesday 13 back. Of course, he's the vocalist of Wednesday 13. They're currently on tour with Cradle of Filth. Also, they just completed their new album and should be out sometime later this year. So, man, I'm so happy to have you back on the show. How you been?
I'm good, man. I'm all good. I think we're on show 5 or 6. I don't know. I've lost count already.
It's been a while since I've had you on the show, and I think the last time I had you on the show, you guys were getting ready to hit the acoustic set and do that stuff.
Oh wow, yeah, that was a while ago. Yeah. So that was I don't remember. That was so long ago.
I want to say that was like 2 years ago, possibly.
Yes. Yeah, that sounds about right.
But we'll get into that here in just a little bit too, because I loved the acoustic stuff that you guys did. I think you nailed it out of the ballpark, dude. Honestly, so it was really awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it was something different that I could, do the music in a different format and make it more of an intimate storyteller's kind of thing. And so yeah, I felt like it was. If you were a super fan of Wednesday 13 and the things I've done, from Murder Dolls to all the other projects, you pretty much got the history and the behind the scenes kind of. It was a fun thing. I kind of based it on when they used to do those those VH1 storyteller kind of deals. And
yeah,
I think I was listening to Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson one night, and I think that's a great idea. And then that guy Butch Walker, who I'm a huge fan of, he's been doing it for years, and I don't think there's anybody that does it quite as good as he does. And so that was inspiring to see him do that. So that was a little bit of an influence as well. So so I just kind of did it my own way, and it luckily worked out. Like, you don't normally hear Wednesday 13 and then followed by the word acoustic. It was like, whoa. That was kind of the most punk rock shocking thing I've done is not wear makeup and play acoustic.
But that's good, man. That's a good fresher breath of air for all of us with this, man, to see what the story behind it and how it came about. So I think that's awesome for bands to do that, in my opinion.
It was fun for me, and it was fun for the fans, and that's what it's all about. So it definitely worked out.
Could we see another tour of that, possibly?
Oh, yeah. We always do those kind of in between tours, and the reason those whole thing kind of started doing the acoustic runs is, back a few years ago, I was sort of, at the time, kind of self-managing the band myself, and so I didn't really have much of a structure and a schedule, and didn't have things planned out the way I do now. Like right now, we're booked this entire year and half of next year already, and whereas before I could go, oh cool, I'm gonna do an acoustic tour, and it was just kind of filling up the gaps in between tours. And now I have a lot of different things going now, so it's keeping us pretty busy. So it's not as easy to pull off those acoustic runs now because we don't honestly have the time to do it.
How's the tour been so far with Cradle of Filth? This tour runs through Thursday, April 18th at the House of Blues in Dallas, Texas. I mean, you have Raven Black on here as well. How's the tour been so far?
It's been amazing. It's been, like I said, I think this is the 4th or 5th show. I think I have a calendar here, but obviously I don't look at it. But it's been great. I knew that Cradle of Filth had a different audience. I was definitely a heavier audience for what the music the Cradle of Filth plays. So with us, I kind of felt like we fit somewhere in the middle between what they do to, whatever else everyone hears in us, which is my influences from Alice Cooper and Kiss and Wasp and, and all that kind of stuff. So it's worked out well. I feel like every night we've came out and the crowd has been, from the front to the back have been listening to my commands. So as a front man, my job is to get everybody that's got their arms crossed to have them uncrossed by the end of the show. And it actually makes me angry if I don't do that. It's like my challenge, especially when we're a support band. So
yeah,
so far every night I haven't seen a crossed arm, or I've seen a crossed arm for the first 3 or 4 songs, and then we seem to win them over. So yeah, I honestly can't think of a better tour that we could have been on. This is the perfect audience for us, and every night we're hearing people say they've never heard of us and we're their new favorite band, and they want to go back and get everything else, and it's just so yeah. So it's the perfect tour for us.
Yeah, and I think you're right on this because you guys are supporting bands like yourself, and plus you got Raven Black. This is a cool nucleus of different horror-related bands. You've got Raven Black, who's kind of the punkish rockish, and then you've got you guys who are just everything under the sun, in my opinion, which is great.
Yeah, we just, the cool thing about what we do is I never gave us a label of what Wednesday 13 is. I just said, I do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And then it became, horror punk or whatever. And I'm like, whatever, okay, that's the name. But I've never given a name to what I do, so that's why we play with all the ingredients that we want to. That's why Condolences was a heavier record, and we can go from, I Walk with a Zombie on Transylvania to something like Condolences that has like double bass and it's so heavy and just dark. And then, there's this, I like to keep the music spectrum completely open and not stick to one thing. I think some fans may prefer a band to stay exactly the same and keep that. But for us and for me as an artist, I can't stay the same. I don't stay the same. Every record you get from Wednesday 13 is where I am in my life with music, where I am somehow. So when I look back on my records, I can go, oh, well, I was going through that then, and I was doing that then, and that's why that record sounds like that, and that's why what I was listening to then. And so every record you get, you're not just getting a record, you're getting actually the emotions and everything of what's going on in our lives and everything around all that. So that's the cool thing about music that a lot of people don't probably think about, is that you spend 3 or 4 months working on a record and artwork. There's a lot of time put into that, not just recording.
I've got to say this right now, and this is kind of crazy. As I'm sitting here doing this interview with Wednesday 13, my cell phone goes off. Of course, I got on silent. I answer it. I'll pick it up, just hit it. And it's the Hope and Prayer line. What the hell?
They feel my presence. But that's the Hope and Prayer line. But
wow.
They probably need more. They probably need more hope and prayer than I do.
That's exactly right, my friend. That is exactly right.
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right.
Oh, that means everything's shining good on us, my friend. It's them.
Yeah.
So when you take yourself and plus Raven Black on this tour, the reception of the crowd and winning them over, are you shocked that you guys are winning this crowd over? Because you talk about a band like Cradle of Filth, who's been around for a while like this. That's pretty great, man, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't know, 100% that the crowd would be our crowd. And that, to me, was the most exciting and challenging thing for me, because we normally do our own tours. We're the headliner. I can come out. I could be in the worst mood ever, or in the past be drunk or whatever, and play a show and come out, and everyone's like, yeah, great, whatever, we love, But when you're going out in front of an audience like Cradle of Filth, where there's maybe 10% of the audience that may know who we are, and by the end of the show, I've got the entire place with their hands up praising us. That's the challenge. That's the cool thing. I didn't know how it was going to go. I had a gut feeling it was going to be good, but to be honest with you, I wasn't going to take no for an answer. So I was going to make them, it's 2 ways. You're either going to love us or you're going to hate us, but you're definitely going to remember us.
There you go. And that's the best thing to live by if you're a touring band. That's just it right there. It's either you like us or you
just go
don't.
out and fucking own it.
Yeah.
And then that's what I do. When I go on stage, that is my fucking stage. That is my stomping ground. That is what I do, and I get to execute all my demons, and that's my area. I let it out and I own it, and that's, you know, and I learned that stuff not from just bands. I learned that from watching professional wrestling and all this kind of stuff. I'm influenced by all that stuff, you know, those, you know, here in Ultimate Warrior, when you go on that stage, you go in that ring like a fucking lord, and you believe it, and your mind's a powerful thing, and you believe it, you can, you know. So when I go on stage, I go for it, and my mission is to win and destroy and not physically destroy, but you get what I'm saying, to conquer, to win the crowd, you know. And
yeah, I got you.
That's what I do every night, and I go for it, you know. And I've been watching videos of the show and stuff on YouTube, because we had 3 days of rehearsal for this, so, you know, I don't know what our show looks like. We didn't video it, we didn't stage rehearse it, we just learned the music, and I tell them what I'm doing. I'm doing props. Okay, just watch out for this part. Don't be in the way when I do this. And so I'm just, you know, I get to watch videos and see how it looks. And I'm watching videos. I'm like, wow, this is great. You know, so I'm really happy with the show, the production, the lights, the set list. Everything's awesome. This is just a fun set. I literally can't wait to play every night.
It's like I've always said, you know, I can feel when a band is actually putting 1,000% into that song and they believe in it. It's like, so how am I supposed to believe and feel it if you're not pouring that out and giving us that feeling? You know what I mean? How can we stand behind it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I see a lot of bands that just go up there, and we call it phoning it in.
Yeah,
we're just going to phone it in today, and then they don't care. And you'd be surprised. There's more people that don't give a fuck than do. And a lot of people phone it in, and I've made a pact with myself long ago that I would never, ever do that. And I see bands and know bands that use more track than they do actually playing their own music, and it blows my mind. And I'm like, that's what you're supposed to do when you're 10, 11 years old and you're standing in the mirror holding a broom, lip singing to your favorite songs. You don't go from that point to get in a band, to get on stage and lip sync your own songs. Like, what the fuck? That makes no sense to me. And that is like a common thing. And it's like bands think that that's okay. And it's like, there's okay to use track. There's okay to use sounds and little keyboard samples or a keyboard line through a song. If you don't have a keyboard, it's okay. But don't have your vocal tracks. Don't have your guitar tracks. Don't have your fucking drummer on there. Like, there are bands that play to their CDs, man. It blows my mind. It really does. And I will not ever, ever do that. I've said I'll go acoustic. I already did that. I'll go beyond acoustic. I don't know what that even means, but I'm not going to do what it seems to be the trend and the most common thing. That's why bands are coming out like fucking roaches. They're just everywhere. They need to be smashed.
Wednesday will go as far as polka, damn it.
Yeah, polka's great compared to the most of the shit I've heard these days.
Oh, that's true.
Weird Al's got them all beat.
He does. Hands fucking down. Yeah. Living with the hernia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, think about that guy. He sells out the Hollywood Bowl by saying, you can do anything in this world. If Weird Al Yankovic can sell out the Hollywood Bowl and make a career, anybody can do anything.
That's exactly right. So I want to talk about this new album with you. What did you want to create differently working on the new album, if anything possible, that you may wanted to add to the other albums but didn't get that opportunity to?
With this new record, the new record's called Necrophase. It's completed. We're just approving mixes right now, so it's already done. We're just in the process of actually finishing up the liner work, the liner notes, where basically someone gets to proofread all my lyrics and make sure I didn't spell everything wrong and use their wrong or the in the wrong place, or made up my own words, which I have been known to do, which is okay. But so everything is almost like literally, I plan to have everything turned in middle of next week, so at the latest. So, but with every record, I think I might have a plan in mind of how the recording, it's mainly the recording process I think about, because I look at it the same way the way I tour. I want to record comfortable. I don't want it to be negative. Like, there's like recording can be amazing if you're in the right environment, and it can be miserable if you're not. And I wanted to make sure we were comfortable, so we recorded in Los Angeles. I was able to go home every night after recording. I could listen to music at home. I wasn't away from home, you know, so that was something I wanted to do this time. Most of my records I've went other places and recorded, and that's cool too. But this time I wanted to stay at home and do it, because I had a lot of more work I wanted to put into it. And with this record, you know, so we had the different recording process. I recorded at home and I went to a studio, and I'd drive home every day. And so I got to basically this time, instead of being in the studio 24/7 with the band, you know, I was there for the drums, and then when the guys did their guitars and bass and all that stuff, I wasn't there the entire time. I would actually let them do their parts, where I was at home working on my lyrics, and then I would come in and do my vocals when they would be done with their parts. So it was a lot of, I let everybody breathe a little bit, as opposed to we're all in there and just do this, do that. Not that I'm that kind of dude, you know what I mean? But it was just, everybody had a little more breathing room on this that's why it turned out to me to be my most fun record I've made. It's my favorite record that I've made. I say that every time, because I love what I do, and I don't put out filler shit, and I try to make good music, and I know that we made a killer record, and I know our fans are going to love it immediately. Like with Condolences, I hope they were going to like it. I thought they would like it. Fingers crossed. Hope they like it. With this new one, I know they're going to like it. I know it. I know it's going to be everything that they wanted and everything they didn't expect, all in one. It's almost like we took all the ingredients of everything we've done and just put it in this super, super fucking Frankenstein machine. It was hit by lightning bolts, and it just spit out the ultimate Wednesday 13 horror album. And it's killer, man. It's my favorite thing I've done. It's different than anything we've done, and at the same time, it's still as much as everything else we've done. It's Wednesday 13, without a doubt. It's different, like every record.
Do you like having the control of being the producer and doing your own thing when you want to and things like that? Do you like this?
Well, I mean, I used to have to be the producer because we never had money to afford one in the past, and we still don't have the money to really afford that kind of stuff. But the last few records, I went with the producer because I wanted an outside ear. I'm such a perfectionist that I don't know when to stop. Mm-hmm. And I've kind of learned over the years to finally just say, all right, I can listen to this so many times and change stuff you've got to decide on that kind of stuff. So having a producer and an outside ear to tell me, hey, that's good, end it there, you don't need any more, that's that reassurance of me going, okay, all right, I got someone to calm my crazy brain down, you know. And so that's what I do like working with producers, but it's never a thing where I let the producers just, you know, I've never worked with a producer that came in and said, I don't like your music, change this, everything around. It's always guys I've worked with from like Zeus from Condolences to Michael Spicer, who just did the new album. You know, it's a friendship. It's almost like those guys join the band for a month while we record, and they get involved with it, and they're not coming in like going, I don't like this, change this. No. It's not like that. It's a group. We're all on the same team, and he's offering ideas that we didn't think of vocally, guitar-wise, and that's just cool to have that extra ear. It's almost like getting an extra member for a month that you trust with their ear to come in and help, you know, put that little extra spice on what you do, you know. And Michael definitely was that dude to come in and do that. He was fun to work with. It was like he became a part of the band for that process of recording, and I think that's what a lot of producers used to do with bands and don't do that anymore. They get involved with the band. I know Ross Robinson's one of those guys who would physically get involved with the band and just hype those guys up, you know, like Slipknot's first album. That's why it's so intense, because he's literally in front of Joey going, fucking play those goddamn drums. And Joey's just, it was just madhouse. That's producers like that are like, they bring it out of you, you know, and then you got guys that sit back and go, all right, cool, I'm going to kick my feet up here. Well, that sounds good to me, whatever, you know, and those people exist. And unfortunately, there's more of those than the good ones. And luckily I have not had to deal with them, and I, I'm still very much involved in getting what I want done. I just have that extra ear to tweak it, tell me it's great, and just stop criticizing it and going, it's finished. No, it's not. It needs 10,000 more didgeridoos. I turn into Brian, like Brian Wilson. I'm like, no, it's not finished yet. I need more Aborigines goat sounds. So, you know what I mean? So for me, it's having that guy to go, all right, you're done. You did enough. You've kicked that body. It's dead. Stop it. So, but it's all been good, man. And this record is it's another chapter of Wednesday 13, and it's one that I think the fans are going to love instantly. And it's something I won't say we've gotten heavier or anything, but there is definitely heavy stuff just like the last record. But I think with the title Condolences and just the vibe of that song, it definitely had a darker, more, less fun vibe about it. Not that it wasn't a good record, but just, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to go out and go, oh man, Condolences is great. I want some ice cream. Let's go fucking feed a deer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so this record's, it's a little more fun, where I like to compare it like you just saw a killer horror movie and you're like, fuck, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Let's watch it again. Have a beer. Fuck yeah. So I think it ends with this. I think any horror fan would love us if they've never heard of us. Like, we've literally made like a horror soundtrack album. When you listen to it, it's beyond the music. That's why it's taken so long. That's why we're waiting longer to put it out, because we're putting so much stuff in it. Like, it's literally going to look like a setup for a movie and a record all at once. But it's not a movie, but it will look like it. It's going to have trailers. It's going to have this and that. So it's a lot of work. I got a lot of touring and a lot of work, and I think fans are going to love it because I've already seen and heard what the covers look like, the artwork. It's the best Wednesday 13 stuff we've done, and I've got the best team behind me now, and it's just, this is our time to strike. I didn't think I'd be almost 43 when I would say that, but the time is now. The iron's hot. We're ready to Conan the Barbarian the fuck out of this.
Basically, you've seen the growth from the last album to this one. There's been an abundance of growth, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're all like geniuses or anything, but we gel as a band. We live together, and we play together every day. So it's almost like a natural thing. There's no push and pull with some bands where we naturally kind of know our parts, and not anybody's going, well, my part's more important than yours. We know it's all about the song. It's all about the song being good, and end of the day, it's a good song. It doesn't matter who's louder or whatever. What makes a good song is good, and whoever shines on it shines. It's not an ego thing. So we write for the sake of a good song, as opposed to some bands literally are going, well, fuck, I want my part up louder and this and that. It's like, we don't do that kind of stuff.
So who's doing the artwork on this album for you guys?
Right now I have a guy. We have two different artists working. There's two different album covers. There's one for the vinyl, and there's one for the CD artwork and the pack and the deluxe packaging and all this other stuff we're adding, which we'll be announcing sooner than later. But yeah, I'm working with Travis Smith, who did the Condolences album. So he's doing the CD cover, and a guy named Mark Kabuski, who's been doing all of my t-shirt art for the past 2 years. I had him do the vinyl, because the vinyl is he's a different artist than Travis. Travis is more of this realistic, I don't even know, like, the guy can paint nightmares. Like, it's insane. I can tell him a nightmare and he could paint it, and I'd be like, whoa. And Mark is more the guy where I go, man, this comic book and this movie, and he can like animate anything and turn it. So it's just two different artists, and I love both of their styles, and I couldn't decide what to do. So I went, fuck it, I'm going to use both of them.
Yeah, because I always like to give a shout out to the artists, because I think they don't get enough appreciation out there.
No, they don't. And and be honest with you, there's a lot of artists that don't have any input from the band at all. They go, we need an album cover, call this guy. Yeah. what do you like? I like skulls and stars and chains, and then you get a Nickelback album cover, and they're like, yeah, or whatever. I don't fucking know. But there's tons of bands that do that shit. But like the artists and stuff that I've dealt with in my experience over the years, we're such a visual band, and I've got this, I have to be speaking with the artist and going, no, you got to do it like this. And I always communicate with them at first, and I always refer to movies when I refer to anything. I'll go, did you ever see Stephen King's Cat's Eye? And they'll go, yeah, I fucking love that. And I'm like, cool, all right, let's talk.
Yeah,
this is what I'm going for. And then and then like my artist Mark, I'm like, all right, so those old Dracula comics, yeah, all right, so here we go. So I'll find the guys that, and usually when I can tell them, it's not like I've got to like explain all these things. They understand what I'm talking about. So like I said, I've never ever had such a cool team around me. I've got a killer band, and I've got just a team management and just everything working around me and getting stuff done for this release. So it's really important, this release. I don't expect us to be a radio band. I've never expected to be a radio band or anything like that. But as far as getting in front of a bigger audience, that is our goal, and that is why we're out with a band like Cradle of Filth, to get in front of a different audience. And so we have been playing to the same people. Not that that's a bad thing, but I want to play for more people. I want everybody to hear us. I tell people all the time, we're your favorite new band. You just don't even know it yet. We got 1 million fans out there. They just don't know it yet. So, I say that. That's not a cocky thing, but that's just more or less just to keep that drive going. Man, there's never too late in the ball game to give up.
Yeah.
We're for the most part in this band, we're all pretty much 40 or in our 40s, and right now I feel more confident with my voice, my stage presence, my everything, songwriting ability, better than I was on my first album or Murder Dolls or any of that. I feel like it's taken me all these years to get really good at what I do. There are people that go from good to bad, and I kind of think I went from okay to good to better to where now I can say I feel fucking awesome. So like the Monster's finally complete, and just everything else was just, practice on the way up to it. This is the big fight. This is the heavyweight fight. This is where I got to bite somebody's ear off.
Any songs standing out more to you than any right now possible on this new album that you could talk about, want to talk about? I know it must change since you've been working on this a lot, though.
I really haven't announced much song type. We're playing a song right now live that's from the new album called Zodiac that I wrote on the Zodiac Killer. I've always been fascinated with the story of the Zodiac Killer, not in the fact that what he did by any means, but just what he did. I mean, it's as interesting as any horror movie I've ever seen. This guy is a real killer who literally fucked with the newspapers and the police and had this whole thing planned out and did it all by code, and it just literally was like Michael Myers but with math. Mm-hmm. and it was like, you got to get this clue to get this and this, and I watched you guys, and I just found that fascinating. And I used to read his book. I read the Zodiac book years ago when I was in high school, and just he still was never caught, and he's a real life monster. And I've wrote enough songs about Michael Myers and Leatherface, so I started singing about real monsters, and the Zodiac was definitely one that was cool. And so literally the song we do is we're doing live and is on the record called Zodiac, and it's brutal, it's heavy, it's one of my favorite songs on the new record. So if you like that song when you hear it live, you're gonna love our record.
I'm definitely going to get to talking some horror stuff here in just a little bit, but I want your opinion on this since you brought that up for the Zodiac Killer. So your opinion, man, do you think it's an inside job, somebody with the paper that was out there, or somebody else maybe?
Oh, I don't think so. I think that was somebody that, luckily because of technology then, he was able to get away with it, and just, somebody got bored and was smart, a bored, smart person with a gun, not good. So I don't think it was I think there's other inside jobs and conspiracy stuff that go way beyond that. But I don't think Zodiac was an inside thing. I just think, he was just somebody they couldn't catch.
in your own opinion, man, for the folks who have not got to hear of Wednesday 13's music yet, and you've got to be living under a rock, what do you hope everyone takes away from it, or message you hope that they hear while listening to it, or just any of your guys' music? What do you hope that they get from it?
When I try to explain our music, I just explain it with my influences. When I go, if you loved, you know, Alice Cooper and Kiss and Wasp and Twisted Sister when they were at their dirtiest and just at the top of the PMRC list, that was what I grew up on. You know, it was the top shock rock thing, and that's why I started doing what I do. So Wednesday 13 is literally the child of the 1980s, of all of that. You take all the top offensive rock stars of the 80s and then mix that in with Beetlejuice and 80s, you know, Pee Wee Herman sitcoms and Bugs Bunny and TV shows and just movies, and you've just got this wide world that is what I do, and my music is literally what I grew up on. I play music, I sing about what I know about, and I know about horror movies and true crime and just if you like horror movies, you like anything UFO strange, just, you know, if you were the people in school checking out books on Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster, you'll love our band. It's just we're the weirdo, you know, we're the weirdo support group. If you were ever called weird, I guarantee you'll like one song by us somewhere in our catalog of music. But no, man, we carry the flag of old school rock and roll, but we put our own spin on it, and we give people a show, and it's very theatric and it's fun. You know, I feel like people walk away loving us or they hate us, but either way they remember us regardless.
So, of course, we're living in the digital era of recording albums, get music out quicker, and plus now we've got social media to reach out to fans who have not got to hear of you guys yet. Do you like this Wednesday that we're living in right now? I mean, I know everybody has to embrace it, but do you like this?
No, not at all. I think it fucking sucks. I hate it, and that's my grumpy old man rant, and they can, you know, it's just because it's happening and people go, oh, well, that's just how it is, doesn't make it right. You know, I mean, they haven't done that to movies yet, where these people are making these $1 million movies and then they're getting 30 cents off of it per time someone watches it, you know? So it's just, I don't think it's fair. I think the musicians got totally fucked on it, and the fans, you know, they've accepted it. Yeah, it's great for somebody new that doesn't want to spend that $10 or whatever it is at the record store, if there is a record store these days, which sucks because that was all on purpose too. That's the inside stuff. But yeah, I mean, they just wanted it to be digital, you know. I mean, everything's digital. You know, you get rid of money, you have a credit card. Everything's digital. It doesn't really exist. I want a physical product in my hand. You know, if I've ever downloaded anything, and I have, but it's only because I wanted a better version of something I'd already bought of it, or if I found a version of it, I bought it. You know, so if there's something I listen to on Spotify, you know, I have it on CD too. You know, so it's just, I don't know. I just think fans have definitely been given something, and I think it's something that they take for granted. And I don't think they understand that how much work a band, or at least I know what we do and what I do for my records. I've been working on this new album since September, you know, and to know that it's going to be streamed and I'm going to get a check at the end of the year for a couple $100 and someone listened to it 3 million times. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, what the fuck happened here? What happened to Record Day when people went to the record store? Now it's iTunes Day. Let me listen to this and let me not get any artwork. Oh, you can look at the artwork online. Well,
no,
that's not the same.
Right.
It's not the same as owning it. You can look at it, but it's still not a physical thing. And that's just me from growing up and what I like. But people go, well, you got to accept it. I am accepting it. Doesn't mean I got to like it. Right. I don't think it's right. I think, you know, if they get to hear the music, I think it should be in a really shitty quality. I think it shouldn't be top level. I think if they really like it, they should have to go buy it and get the proper thing, or the DB level down is so low. I don't know. People will, well, we'll get more fans if they can go on this. But so what? You know what? Music worked out a long time ago before this digital age, and it was doing just fine. And it's just because it's happening doesn't mean it's right, and that's the way it has to be. I don't agree with it.
And you know, the digital has kind of taken away the promoter in a way.
It's everything. It's all robotic. It's just like one of my favorite movies. It's Terminator. Skynet's coming for us, coming for our rock and roll. It's done. It's all robotic. You know, next band is going to make it, $1 million band, all robots.
You know, folks, I don't
fucking know.
I'm not ashamed to say this, and I'm sure there's other people that's out there that's done this before. I've worked my ass off when I was a kid, and I worked school programs, and they paid you for the 6 weeks that you worked during the summer. So I remember dropping $250 Wednesday at a record store on CDs and posters, and did the reaction of the cashier when I walked up with all the stuff. She's like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "No, I'm not kidding you. This is what I want." So
yeah, that's the kids don't know that. They don't know what we know, and
exactly.
You can't yell at them for it. You can just remind them and rub it in their face of how good we had it, and you know, I don't know if it'll come back around, but it looks like the robots are taking over and we're all dead.
Is there a country that stands out or even shocks you that Wednesday 13 gets support from? That kind of makes you wonder, like, wow, we're actually played or get support in that country, man.
Russia.
Wow.
You know, we played Russia a few years ago, and we're going back again, but I didn't know we had a record out there, and we came out, and there were kids crying for us like we were the Beatles or something.
Oh, dude.
A real smelly Beatles. It was cool, you know, and going to Russia, you know, being a kid from the 80s when every movie I grew up on, we were trying to kill the Russians, or the Russians did something, you know, Red Dawn and the Russian. It must have been the Russian.
Look at Rocky.
Rocky. Yeah. So it's just like, wow, we're in Russia and these people like us. This ain't so bad. I was robbed. Red Dawn wasn't right. So like Russia's definitely a place that I wouldn't expect anyone to know who the hell we are, and they're into it, you know. So yeah, man, it's just, you know, music is. I have the coolest job. I get to travel around the world playing my music in different countries, seeing the reactions, and just being able to tour and play what I want to play that was never manufactured, no label, nobody. You hear that all the time. Oh, the label made us do this. The label made us do this. The label's never made me do anything other than delay something, but as far as, like, you know, like artistic control, or, oh, your song, could you guys maybe not say fuck in that song? It was never like that. It's like, when you get me, you kind of know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, what is it? You think you can tone it down a bit? No.
Yeah, no.
No, can we tone it up? And so that's the good thing with me. I've never ever had to deal with anybody manipulate me and telling me to do something. But I do take constructive criticism. I like people to tell me things if something isn't good. But at the end of the day, I don't do anything for, oh my God, we're gonna make money. It's never about money. You know, I just, you know, I want to get a bigger audience, and I don't cater our music to that or anything. We just do what we do, and, you know, every year more people are catching on, and by the time we're in our 70s, we'll be able to fill a small flea market if we're lucky.
It'll be sooner than that, damn it. Give yourself more credit.
It's awesome. I get to do what I get to do, and I'm very lucky, because what I do is not normal. You know, it's just, I mean, not normal, but it's not your normal thing. Like, we're traveling over the U.S. We stop in Walmart, and everybody goes, "You in a band?" Well, yeah. What's the name of your band? You never heard of it. Come on, try me. Wednesday 13. No, I've never heard of it. You know what I mean? So that's what happens in Walmart every day when we travel and stuff. But you know, then sometimes you'll say it and people will know it. You never know. So it slowly gets around. But being on a tour like this is definitely putting us in front of, you know, 800 to 1,000 people that would never know who we are. So we get to do that for 42 shows or something like that.
Now, you've toured with many bands, but are there any bands or just one band on the bucket list you want to tour with or work with possibly?
They're all dead.
No.
Yeah, I think all the bands I want to play with are all dead, or we've played with them. Like Alice Cooper still tours, and we've been able to play with him like numerous times. So that's been awesome. Twisted Sister doesn't play anymore, so that'd be awesome. Wasp, I'm okay with watching Wasp. I don't think Blackie would, be into. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know if he'd be into what we do or if it would fit or what. We may be a little too extreme. I think we're a little more old Wasp than new Wasp. But I still love Wasp, and don't get me wrong or anything, but I don't know if that would ever fit. I used to say Motley Crue, but they don't play anymore. Kiss would be cool, but yeah, that's about it. Like really, I could say Aerosmith, but we wouldn't fit with Aerosmith. I just want to meet Steven Tyler and Joe Perry, and I'll be fine. but I've been really fortunate to we've toured with Iron Maiden, we've toured with Guns N' Roses, Alice Cooper, Rob Zombie, Manson, like tons of people. So I've been really fortunate to come from a little haystack in North Carolina to touring all over the world with some of the biggest bands in the world,
So I'm a big horror fan, and I know you are a huge horror fan. So what did you think of the new Halloween movie, if you got to check it out yet, which I'm sure you have?
I thought it was cool. Again, I wasn't reading about it, waiting on it, anything like that. It's just, I saw it and I thought it was cool. It did a couple cool nods to the originals. It was cool to see Jamie Lee Curtis in it, and I've seen it once, and that's it. I'll probably end up seeing it again eventually, but yeah, it was good. It wasn't anything that blew me away. And honestly, I haven't really watched anything new. I've pretty much cocooned myself off around August, September last year. I unhooked my television. I don't watch any news. My social media is literally just when I go on and post my stuff. And I've only watched 80s sitcoms and movies from the late 70s and 80s. I really have no idea what's been going on for the past 4 or 5 months. So I saw Halloween, but everything else is, I've been watching WKRP in Cincinnati a hell of a lot more.
Oh, great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Got to be watching some Transformers up in there too, man. So come on.
G.I. Joe on this bus.
Oh, yeah? Oh, man.
We're G.I. Joe.
I like G.I. Joe, but for me, it was Transformers. Transformers was, and He-Man. Those two were mine.
Yeah, G.I. Joe and He-Man's that for me. Transformers were too expensive, so I never got to play with them. So, yeah.
Oh, man. Folks, you want to get out and check out Wednesday 13. They're on tour right now with Cradle of Filth and Raven Black. I'm telling you right now, and I'm not saying it's just because Wednesday's on here. They are a phenomenal band. They don't get enough credit as they do. So I'm telling you right now, get out and do yourself a favor and check this band out. If you like horror stuff, just anything under the sun like that, horror related, I mean, these guys are great. So they've got all kinds of good music that's out there. Wednesday likes a lot of stuff like I do. I like UFOs. I like paranormal stuff. And I've got some paranormal stuff that will make some people's jaws drop. But anyway.
Yeah, that could be a whole nother hour conversation just on that alone.
Oh, God, yes. I mean, I've got some crazy shit. But anyway, Wednesday, how can folks stay in touch with you guys? Merchandise, tour dates, things like that. How can they do that, my friend?
officialwednesday13.com. I believe that's the same as Facebook. Someone stole Wednesday 13 before I could, so it's like official Wednesday 13. Everything is linked off the website. Instagram, Mr. Motherfucker 13. I post live stuff on there. So everything I try to make. I don't post the same stuff on Facebook that Twitter gets. So you got to follow all the social medias to kind of collect all the pieces if you want to see kind of what's going on. Because I run it all myself, and so Instagram may get a little more love than Twitter one day. Twitter may get a little more, so you got to follow it all. The website's basically just kind of like home base to connect you. So that's like ground control to Major Tom.
Before I let you go, good sir, would you care to do a promo for my show?
Sure. All right. Hello, folks, earthlings, creatures, roaches, rodents. This is Wednesday 13, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great music coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Radio Network. Please get out, check out our Facebook page. It has our YouTube link plus our podcast link. Hopefully soon our Twitch link, and also get out and check out Wednesday 13. Hopefully new album will be out sometime this year, sooner, hopefully.
Yeah, before Halloween. Sure.
There you go, folks. You heard it from Wednesday right there.
Yeah.
So
I can't give you a Christmas record. I'm not Mariah Carey.
Just get out and check out Wednesday 13. You will not be disappointed, folks. Wednesday, thank you. Have a good week, man.
All right, man. Thank you.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.